So we're here in the Coach House studio at Rockfield. We're in the drum room, and I'm just going to give you a basic tutorial on the miking up of a drum kit. This is a pretty standard setup for what we usually use. We've got 18 mics in total, which is sometimes a bit excessive, but not unusual. So we mic up the drums individually. We've got the snare drum, several mics on the kick drum, one inside which gives you the punch of the drum, and then one on the outside which gives you more of the tone of the drum. And then the individual mics on the drums, these are pretty standard mics that we're using on this setup. These ones are capturing the whole kit, the cymbals as well, but overall kit sound, which is in quite an ambient room, so you get a lot of reflections and this nice ambient sound, which is what Rockfield's known for. We've got mics out in the corridor because you get really nice ambient sound from the corridor. That's quite a distinctive part of Rockfield sound as well. And then we have room mics. So we've got some old ribbon mics at the moment, which are picking up the room ambience. Again, really nice sound of this room here. And then some mics right up in the corners, which are kind of giving us that big sort of bombastic drum ambience sound. So generally, the drummer will come in, we'll set the kit up, we'll tune the kit, get the drummer happy, then we'll put all the mics on. Sometimes we might use 4 mics, 5 mics, 6 mics, but generally we'll put a few extras on that we might not use in the mix, but then we can have control in the mix, more ambience, more cymbals, more snare drum. Now we're in the control room and I can explain the drum setup. So I pointed out we had 18 mics on the drum kit, so we've got channels 1 to 18 here, which are the drum mics that we had in the room, the individual mics on the kick drum, the snare drum, the toms, the hi-hat and ride cymbals, the overhead cymbals, and then the ambient room mics and the corridor mic. So the microphones come in here on the individual channels. We'll add a little bit of EQ, maybe some effects and some compression, and then that goes into the computer, and then it comes back here along with the rest of the instrumentation. So we can demonstrate the individual tracks of how we mix it. So if Henry plays the track, so these are the returns now. After we've recorded it in the computer, it comes back up the mixing desk, and then we have control over the individual elements. So they're the cymbals individually, so you're getting the each element of the drum kit as separated as you can, then you mix it all together to make the overall sound of the drums to fit the song that you're working on. So if we have the bass drum, just solo just the bass drum, you can hear that it's quite separated and you can't really hear the rest of the drum kit, you're just hearing just the bass drum. And we can show you the room mics so you can actually get to hear the sound of the room that the kit is in, and why people come to use somewhere like Rockfield, so that you have that very distinctive and great sounding drum room. So they're down the end, Henry. So that gives an overall picture of the drum kit, an overall sound. It makes the kit sound a bit bigger and have more of an impact, and a bit more like you hear in an actual drum kit. We've got the corridor, which is obviously unique to Rockfield and something that all the producers and engineers like to use here in Rockfield. And then when you put all the microphones together, all 18 of them, you go and solo the microphones, you get the whole picture of the drum sound that you need for the track, and that will be mixed differently depending on the song and the artist and what kind of drum sound you're after. So I'm Nick Brine. I'm a producer and engineer here, and I've been here for 27 years now. Started here as a T-boy at the age of 16. Lucky enough to work with lots of the great bands that have been through the place in that time. So I learned everything here. I didn't do any training, or I was taught in-house by all the fantastic engineers that were coming through the doors here, and the in-house guys back then. In bands, and I was always recording rehearsals. I was always interested in who made the record and where it was made and how it was made. And it was by accident, really. I just somebody I knew was already a T-boy here and had become an assistant and an engineer, and he was leaving and said to me, "I think you'd be really good at the job. I think you'd enjoy it." and I came for a very crazy interview with Kingsley, where I said nothing for the hour. Kingsley spoke for the whole hour, and then I left not knowing what to do, and if I got the job. And he'd said to me not to get involved in the music business, and he said, but if you decide you still want to do it, give me a call when you get home. So I called him as soon as I got home and said I'd do it, and I had my last exam that day, and then started here on the Monday.